Okay, I'm a bit in my cool down now, but the euphoria and just bliss that I felt, even got my post juice, um, that I felt after today's class was incredible. Instead of following along a warm up today, I did my own. I just kind of woke up inspired with some things that my body was like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this. So I just kind of followed it. And before I even did my stretching and specific warm up for class, I did a little soca dance workout, and that's one of the things I have consistently done recently, like outside of not being very active and moving very much. That's one thing I have kept pretty consistent, is just working in that ways, getting a little wine in, getting a little twerk in, doing a soca workout, which also just, it gives me a good sweat, it raises my spirits and my energy, just it revs me up. It revs me up overall with my energy. So I did that first, and then did my stretching and everything. And yeah, today I just feel really, 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 really good. Really awake, really rejuvenated. I don't feel anywhere near as sore as I expected myself to, but I think that's in part due to having, for the past 2, almost 3 weeks, have been reinitiated my stretching and strength and mobility practice of doing stretches, but doing versions of them where I'm activating my muscles instead of just sitting in my passive extreme range of motion, because I am hypermobile in various areas. Like I can be very hypermobile in my hips, definitely in the back of my knees. Like I have that crazy back knee extension, which I've heard my whole life. I've heard other dancers say, like, I envy your legs. I wish I had your legs. I wish I had that back knee extension. So yes, so I am excited because I just feel really good in my body and really grounded, really comfortable, which was something I've struggled with for quite some time. I go in and out of this weird space with body dysmorphia where I feel a lot bigger than I am, or I gain a little bit of weight and feel like I'm like thousands of pounds heavier. And that's what's interesting about that, is I do think that's something that participating in dance, particularly ballet and the culture surrounding ballet, I think that is something that I psychologically deal with because of that, and because I was just always very small, very thin, very skinny as a child, and just heard a lot about, like, oh, she's so skinny, she's so this, she's so da 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 da. Then as I grew up, finished puberty, got into adulthood, now I'm in my late 20s. All of that kind of just created a clusterfuck in my head, and so I'm now in a space of just like relinquishing all that, surrendering to the beauty of all the stages and expressions of my body, and just enjoying moving my body, which often I find helps me be less focused in those areas, because I'm just focused on the feeling and what's happening internally in my body that's being reflected mentally for me. So today was really good. I felt the kind of this interesting contrast or nuance between some things feeling very much like muscle memory, and then other things just feeling very wonky and just kind of like, what's happening here? I'm doing what? You want me to do what? And I think some of it is just certain muscles, like the amount of muscular awareness and strength ballet takes is immaculately incredible. Like, it is hard to even put in words how much, like, micro tiny muscles and like mind body connection it takes, because it takes you being present, very, very present, very, very aware, to be able to connect mind and matter, like connecting and being able to be aware of and access that glute muscle and certain muscles in your legs and your thighs. And I think, having gone through a yoga teacher training myself and done anatomy, I think that gives me a different perspective approaching ballet now, in this season that I'm approaching it, because I'm now coming at it with, oh wow, because of the yoga teacher training, I learned to be able to be aware of where my adductors are and what is happening in my hip flexors and internal rotation and flexion versus extension and things of that nature. So I'm being able to pull some of that in, but then also just be able to enjoy and laugh at myself when I'm like, oh wow, like I'm just feeling like that, like that's just burning, and that's just what it is, straight up. It just burns, and my muscles are like, okay, we're waking up, we're here, etc. And getting reaccustomed to being like super active in this way, as well as relaxing into it. Like ballet has such this interesting contrast of like extreme strength but beautiful serenity and relaxation. So remembering like relaxed in the face, in the neck, not holding tension, not holding stress, and actually letting the core and the leg and the glute muscles do the work. And so today I would definitely continue to remind myself to be focused on let that bar go, not completely, but like, don't be grabbing on, holding on to that bar. Like I was very, 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 very aware of that today, far more than I think I was yesterday. So far more aware and mindful of how I was clutching onto the bar, and then really tuning into, is my core turning on? How am I being able to hold my core in space? Am I lengthening the tailbone down towards the ground? Am I keeping that posture? Because truly, one of the videos that I'm watching, the teacher talks about how like it is your posture and your core that carries you through so much of it, realizing that it really is true. And so knowing when I get to feeling wobbly or uncomfortable, there's something that's not engaging, and so I'm able to take a pause and kind of regroup and say like, okay, like let's just engage through it. And then taking moments to pause when I realize my body's just like, bro, we haven't done something like this in a minute. Can we just sort of like ease back into it? And so just really giving myself the opportunity to travel easily in this journey and just sort of explore, and then just be really excited and grateful for the cool moments of when my body's like, oh yeah, I got that, I could do that, that's familiar, I can and then be able to just enjoy and smile through, and when I have to struggle, wobble, burn through the moments when my body's like, oh, okay, that's a little intense. But it feels really good that I'm being able to just have the joy in it. And I think it's also just the dopamine hitting because of the sweat and the contrast that your body gets, like the positive stress being put on your body that then allows dopamine to release naturally instead of the imbalanced dopamine we get from scrolling and other external forms of dopamine supply, which can cause, that mental emotional imbalance and can be one of the reasons that can lead to depression. That's the way I've experienced it, is when I'm not curating or engaging enough natural stressors, i.e. putting stress on the body through safe physical movement and exercise that generates the sweat that helps trigger that dopamine release into the body. I find I swing into a deeper sort of sadness or depression when I don't have that going on, because your body's chemistry will try to bring you into equilibrium. So when getting too much dopamine from the devices or food, sugar, the body will then try to bring the body back into homeostasis, but it can happen kind of wonky and imbalancedly. And I've learned that that can be what can trigger a deep sadness or depressive episode for myself. So I'm really excited to have this for that reason as well, to be able to nurture myself in this way. So yeah, I think that's all for right now. I feel really good. I'm excited about my progress and just to be feeling really good in my body. I also think the other reason why I'm not super sore is because I do have this massage roller that I was using, and I used my mom's foam roller when we were still in Maryland, but more than the foam roller, I've been using this massage roller, and maybe I'll put it in here, but to roll out my muscles in the morning before practice or anything. And I think that's been really helpful too. So yeah, I think that's all for now. Peace, love, and fairy dust.